Who first told you to cover up? What if the truth is being bare in nature isn't shameful at all? It's healing, it reconnects you to your body and to the natural world. Welcome back to Hiking Without a Stitch. Get naked, be free, and be kind. I'll share my journey into naturism, stories from the trail, and conversations with others who have found freedom in the open air. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Hiking Without a Stitch. Today I'm sitting down with Jason, a licensed professional counselor who spends his days helping people navigate anxiety, identity, self-worth, and, connection with our bodies and ourselves. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and what makes this conversation especially unique is that Jason is also exploring his own journey into clothes-free living himself. So we get to talk to him not only as a counselor, getting his perspectives, but also as someone on his own journey and exploring that. So we're diving into what drew him into nudity, how these experiences have shaped him, and how all of it ties into mental health, healing, and self-acceptance. This really is a collaborative episode, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with Jason and sharing our perspectives and having an open, vulnerable conversation. So thank you, Jason. I really appreciate you connecting with me, and we'll just jump right into it. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for sitting down with me today. I really appreciate your time. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you want people to know about you?
Yeah, thanks, John. I guess that I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm a gay man, originally from Chicago. I'm happily partnered, 15 years. I'm a dog person.
So am I.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some of your posts with your dog when you're out hiking.
Yep, my dog Brandy.
Really super fun. We have some pretty incredible outdoor spaces here too, but none of them are nude friendly, unfortunately. So.
Well, which is crazy because a lot of places aren't nude friendly, and then there's places that are just hard no nude friendlies.
Right.
Which is interesting to navigate coming into like the nudity space. What made you want to become a therapist?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if I give you the whole story. It might take too much time, but kind of the condensed version is I've been kind of trying to figure out what to do for a career, and I had tried a couple of different things. I'd been to college, got a degree, kind of worked in retail management, wasn't super satisfied with that. And then a friend of mine started studying psychology at the graduate level, and he kind of introduced me to all the different sort of, the different subjects and the different ways that they were talking about humans and how we behave. And so it was really interesting. It really resonated with me. Like, I've always been a bit of an existentialist, like, why are we here? What are we doing? But then I've always been really also interested in like people and why we do what we do. And so I started looking into it myself and found that there were several different categories of graduate degrees that I could get in psychology. And several of them I was like really interested in. So I started exploring that and applying, and landed on the marriage and family therapy background or degree, essentially.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I got into it, and my first semester, I was like, I can't believe I didn't do this 10 years ago. Yeah. It really hit home, and I've been doing it now for, I've been a working professional for 12 years, and I've been
cool.
in it for 15, and I honestly can't imagine doing many other things with my life. So it's pretty awesome.
Oh, that is awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah,
so you're a therapist, and you're also, would you consider yourself a naturist or just someone that enjoys being naked?
I am I'm in sort of my exploration of labels phase.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's something that I've gotten into more and more in probably, I don't know, the last 5, 6, 7 years. Started experimenting. I enjoy, I can't remember who it is. It's a nudist naturist writer that I read, and I apologize I can't give him credit for this quote, but essentially what the quote was about was, he said he feels it's not euphoria when I'm nude, but it's so like it's like an automatic like 3% bump to my mood. There's just something so free and relaxing and embodied and like just it's just a positive feeling. And so when I started doing it, I'm like, this is great. I want to do more. And so I started experimenting like in my backyard, like just getting sun, not wearing any swimwear or anything. That was incredible. And then on our honeymoon, I was like, I want to go to a nude beach. I just want to try it. I just want to be around other people who are comfortable in their skin, like I was hoping to kind of become. And I did it, and it was exhilarating and scary and liberating and all of the things. And I just couldn't believe, like, growing up in American culture, we get taught to be ashamed of our bodies. And it was liberating that I didn't have to be. Like, it changed me. That moment, that experience changed me. And so I've been increasingly experimenting more and more with places and people and moments. And when I'm home, I'm barely ever dressed. Like, I'm just a better person, a better, like, happier person when I'm undressed. So naturist, like, I do enjoy being outside and being nude. I just don't know which one of those labels applies to me or which one I want to adopt in this moment.
Yep, the labels thing is hard too, because it's like, do I say that I'm this thing, and do I, believe in the list of things that stands for? You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
So
that's a big part
labels-
of my job too. Is labels, societal labels, and which ones do people like. I work a lot with the queer community, the LGBTQ community, and so some of it is figuring out like what label fits for people, right?
Yeah.
What they want to adopt. And so I'm in this headspace all the time.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of weird to be flipped around and be exploring it again for myself after figuring out my sexuality, 30 years ago or whatever. And now like figuring this out too, like, okay, yeah, this explains me sometimes, but not all the time, or not every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In the right container. This
Sure.
is who I am.
Yeah.
What was your very first experience like? What drew you into trying nudity and social nudity?
I think I've always sort of known that I enjoyed being naked. I guess typically, like, maybe like a lot of us do, like with my partner or with people that I've dated, like just spending extended times naked. Like I've slept naked since I was in high school. That was something that I just tried, and I was like, well, I'm never going back. Like, why am I wearing underwear to bed? Like, nobody's seeing me. So literally since high school, I've been doing that. But then, like, sometimes you just spend a lazy morning or a lazy afternoon or, whatever. And it's like, what am I putting clothes on for? Like, we're both naked or both comfortable being naked in these moments. Like, so I think that's kind of what got me, I don't know, maybe just subconsciously thinking in that direction. Gotcha. And then when I was more intentional about it and started reading about people and communities and even some of the philosophies around it, I was like, yeah, like, I think this kind of explains me or explains some of my experience. So maybe I'll be more intentional and do it more often and that kind of a thing. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that totally answers my question. And I feel like you and I have a very similar coming into the nude space with leading with curiosity and going, oh man, that feels good, and leaning into that direction. And so I share that with you a lot. Is I came across it in a couple positive moments, and the curiosity was like, oh, I got to check this out more. Yeah. And then you, the more that I did it, the more compounding good things I got from it.
Right. Right.
Mental clarity, calm, all that.
Yeah. I remember you talking about some of that in some of your prior episodes.
Yeah. I mean, building up into you went to a nude beach. Was that your first, like, socially nude thing, or
was it my first socially? No, actually, my first socially nude experience was at a Korean bathhouse.
Okay, nice.
In the Chicagoland area, they call them K spas, just Korean spas. And so one of my cohorts in graduate school recommended this experience, and I just was intrigued. And so I went, and I was just around other people who were just existing. Right? They were bathing. and they were around other humans. And I, of course, had read about that, about other cultures being comfortable and having these rituals or these, these habits and things like that. But to be there, and in Chicago, like it's an extremely diverse community there. And so it's not just Koreans that go there. It's probably maybe half, right? But there's other Asian cultures that come. There's Russians, Turkish, Polish, Scandinavian. Like there's all sorts of like transplants that go there. And so there's all sorts of different people who hang out and are comfortable there. And so that was my first experience. And I think at that point I was hooked. I was like, this is, and so I go back there whenever I can, but
that's awesome.
I love that experience. It's so relaxing to me.
Was there any fears or doubts going into that experience about seeing other people naked or people seeing you naked?
I was all doubts.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, like we get taught to be ashamed of our own bodies in U.S. culture. Not universally, but like I think that's a lot of our experiences. A vast majority of us get taught that we're supposed to be ashamed of being nude. And it was, I think I was probably just more intrigued. Like, why do these other people get to not be ashamed?
Yeah.
And I have to be, right? And so I went there and I'm like, I'm just going to just try it. I'm just going to see what happens.
Yep.
Like, I'm just going to, and if I hate it, I'm just going to towel off and get dressed and leave. And I had my exit plan. Like I had but I went there and it was just so chill, so relaxing. Like, there were men with their sons. There were obviously like, friend groups. It was just like this really communal experience. And so it was super relaxing for me in that regard.
Is the spas, are they unisex, so both sexes can be in there, or is it male, female?
So my experience with K-spas is when you check in at the sort of the front desk and then the genders, so they don't really just do two genders, but they split. So men and women. And so then there's a wet bathing area that is separate genders. And it's in the place that I went, it's mandatory that everyone is nude on the wet side. They don't allow anyone to wear underwear or swimming trunks or anything like that. And so you're supposed to shower, and then you can do the different temperature tubs or the steam room or the dry sauna or the whatever. And then you dress in give you like a little basketball shorts type uniform. And then you can go into the common area, which is where most of the dry saunas are. And then that's where everyone congregates back together. So if you came there with your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter or what, then you would meet back on the other side. And they have a whole cafeteria there. They have nap rooms. They have a little theater where you watch a movie. Like it's
no way.
I'm saying it's super like people go there and they will spend and I've done this, and you spend the entire day there and you just chill out, like maximum chill out. It's so great.
That sounds fantastic, actually.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I wish Tucson, Arizona had something like that.
Yeah.
We don't really have any clothing optional spas like that.
Okay.
I guess there might be one up in Phoenix, but I haven't really looked into that much.
Okay.
But
sure.
Yeah, that sounds like a great experience, especially for like a first-time experience. Very positive.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. So, like I said, at that point, I was hooked.
So from that point, you just tried to recreate more and more different experiences with your nudity?
Yeah, I think
going to resorts and stuff.
Yeah, I think it just became sort of maybe a permanent curiosity, something I wanted to continue to explore just in different ways. So I just hung out at home a little more often naked, or like I said, I would go to my backyard. Like, so the house that we lived in previously had a pretty private backyard, had a pool. And so for the last probably 3 summers, I think, I haven't worn swim
that's
trunks,
nice.
like ever. Like,
that's nice.
If we have company over and I'm like, not sure about people's comfort levels or whatever, then sure. But I mean, I've even been able to experience that, like just hanging out with a couple friends and not worrying about swim trunks. And
that's a great feeling.
It's incredible. Yeah, being in water without clothes on, like it now kind of blows my mind. Like, why do we wear clothes in water?
Yep,
it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But it's just culture, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel very similarly. When I go swimming, it's like, why would I ever wear a bathing suit again? Or hiking. Why would I ever wear hiking shorts again? It's you don't collect sweat in your clothes. Your body's regulating better. Like it just doesn't make sense, but culturally it's
Right.
freaks people out. So
It does. Yeah, we can't see genitals for some reason. I don't understand.
yeah, have you had any negative like interactions with people from someone seeing you nude or bringing it up?
You know what's interesting about that, and this is kind of like where I'm leaning in a little bit more, is I think I edit myself for other people's comfort.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not a healthy habit. Like one of the things that's really important to me is being authentic and being my whole self. And so that's kind of like the precipice that I'm at, is like I'm starting to now tell people in my life that are important to me, that I care about, like this is me, this is kind of like what I do in my own time or at home, or sometimes when we vacation. And across the board I have had 100% like support, which
That's
is
awesome.
it's incredible. Like I think it speaks to the quality of the people in my life, the people
Yes,
who love
absolutely.
me, right? I don't know how comfortable everyone would be if I were hanging out with them and I were undressed and they were dressed. I haven't explored that territory yet, but theoretically, right now, everyone that I've talked to is like, well, sure, if that's what you want to do, like, okay. I'm like, oh, okay. yeah.
That's great to hear, because your brain has a way of going, it's going to be terrible, and building up this all the negatives. Which, I mean, there's a possibility that that happens, but from your story and from my own personal experiences,
Yeah.
very similar. Not a lot of pushback. I've had
Right.
maybe one or two family members go, "Yeah, you're kind of weird, but you've always been kind of weird." So it's nothing
That's
like
just
new,
it, though.
you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird, and I love that about myself. Like, I'm just unconventional. I'm an unconventional thinker. I know I feel deeply. I express myself differently. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm at
Yeah.
a phase in my life where I'm like, I love who I am. And I think I've collected people in my life who also love who I am. And so they're just like, oh, yeah, okay, that tracks.
That's a
Go
great.
ahead. Go ahead, be you.
Yeah, that's a great gift to have too. Is people around you
Is
that support you in that
amazing.
journey.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember listening to your episode where you had your wife on, and then also your mom, and I was rapt. Like, I loved hearing about your wife's experience, about you kind of like introducing her to this and her getting comfortable, or her journey a little bit, and then also just hearing about your mom and like how they raised you and like some of the values that you had, but then you pushed into that, and but she just was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, she just really embraced it at some. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, so it was so encouraging to hear.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's and that's what I hope a lot of people take away from this, is that if you work up the bravery and speak to the people around you about what you're passionate about, or about who you really truly are underneath all the masks that we wear, more than likely they're going to be open to it and supportive, because it's really our life and existence.
Yeah,
They're just a part of our experience, and we're a part of theirs.
right. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
When you first started doing it, what were the main benefits that you saw coming into seeing your own nudity, being exposed, and
So I kind of kid around with the label that I'm a hedonist, which I don't know that that's actually accurate, right? But I, like I said, when I feel things, I really do. I feel like I feel things. I mean, I have no basis for comparison, right? None of us do, but I feel like I feel things pretty strongly in my body, in my emotions. And so one of the sensual pleasures of being nude and outside is the sun on your skin and the soft breezes and the, if it maybe a little bit of rain or it's such a sensual experience that it, like I said, it immediately kind of boosted my mood. And until I read that thing that I mentioned earlier, I hadn't really realized that that was what was happening. But I now, like, when I get home from work, where I do have to be dressed, I can't wait to shed my clothes. Like, I start to get almost like hypersensitive in my body about like the socks on my feet or the underwear or the shirt and I'm like, and then once it's off, I feel like I can go. And so that's definitely one of the benefits of it, is it is just a relief or an instant relaxation of some measure. But I think, so your question was like, what are the benefits? Is that
yeah,
what
what kind What are your personal benefits that you've seen
Yeah.
practicing this? Maybe better relation to your body, mental health.
So
anything.
that's really been what my focus has been. Is so growing up. So I grew up in a pretty religious household. Growing up also with a minority sexuality that I didn't really understand until I was in my late teens and early 20s. There's lots and lots of shame about who I should be or who I shouldn't be. And so when I started to lean into this and really embrace like just being nude around people, I had to really look at like my relationship to my own body. And what are the messages I get from society? Or what are the pressures I feel about looking a certain way or being a certain way? Or I have hair in this place, or I don't have hair in this place. And so it really made me examine like why? Like why? And again, this is my existentialism. This is my, psychology background. And there's really no reason. The reason is, and I will die on top of this soapbox to mix metaphors. We get told these things in our media in order to sell us things, right? You shouldn't look this way. You shouldn't be this way. You shouldn't have this. And if you do have it, or you are this, or you look this way, buy this thing, and then you'll be better. Sorry, guys. The curtain's been pulled back. I know who the wizard is now. Like, none of that's going to resonate with me anymore, ever again, right? Like, I don't have to look or be or anything other than who I am. And so that benefit, like that relationship to my body, like that's when I really started to embrace like, this is me. Like this is what I look like. I don't care if you like it or not. It's like,
exactly.
Not to jump too much on a tangent, but I get told that a lot of times when people are exploring coming out like a minority sexuality, and they'll have loved ones who don't reject it, right? And they'll say, that's fine that you're gay, but we don't really agree with that lifestyle. It doesn't matter. Like, your approval, your disapproval, I exist. The feelings in my body exist. I am here. Just like that tree is here. Just like your dog is here. Just like your nephew is here. I exist. You don't get to approve or disapprove of that.
Yep.
So that is like such a core level of acceptance, like so deep that I've never really experienced it before, and it just extends into my relationship with my body and how I show up with other people.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that.
Thanks.
It's so true too, because it's like you fully accept, here I am. This is how I was created. This is how I'm made. I can't really change it, too much. Like, take it or leave it. And I'm not asking for permission to do things. I'm living my life and experience. You can be a part of it or you can't. Like,
or not. Right.
Yeah. Like, if you choose not to, you're missing out because it's awesome. But like, I totally agree with you on that.
Do you know who Ram Dass is?
Yes.
Do you know his famous quote about the tree?
No, not off the top of my head.
I won't get it word for word, but essentially what he says is we walk into a forest and we see a tree, and when we observe the tree, it might bend this way or that way, or it might be crooked or it might be leaning or whatever. And we don't judge the tree. We just accept that this is what the tree looks like. But the second we meet a human, all of these judgments come out. Why are you this way? Why are you that way? Right? And he's like, and so he says, I practice turning people into trees.
Oh, man, that is great.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That is awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's one of my favorite quotes, and that just goes to like the level of acceptance, right, of myself and others. Like, why would we would never judge a tree for being a tree? So dude, why do we do this with humans, right? Yeah,
dude, it's so true because that's the desexualization of the human body when you go and spend time with other people.
Yeah,
that's really turning them to trees. Is what you're doing mentally. You're like, oh, it's a body. It's
yep.
I have that. I've seen these body parts. They're normal. Everyone looks a little bit the same, but a little bit different, and that's what's cool.
Just like a tree.
Just like a tree.
It's silly, but it works, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. So, and I've experienced a lot of the same benefits. Better body acceptance, better outlook on other people's bodies, and being less judgmental and less, how do I want to say this? Consumptive. not checking people
Meaning,
out. You know, like if someone walks up, I'm not checking out the person in the bikini any more than I would check out a nude body. The bikini props up like the nudity
got it.
or the sexualized image of it.
Yes.
When I started to change my mindset towards people, it was like, it's just a body. There's nothing, this container right now is not sexualizing it, so there's no reason for me to even, you know,
Isn't
go
that crazy?
there. It is. It's really
Yeah.
crazy because we're
Yeah.
brought up in a system that's over-sexualized with everything.
So much. Yeah. So much in our culture does that. Yeah.
So that's been like really freeing for me to have less mental load on that, and just the freedom of when I remove my clothes out in the desert or out in the woods, it's an immersive experience. I'm feeling the wind. I'm getting the vitamin D. And it provides me a pretty good time of canceling out my spiraling thoughts and calming my brain and just letting me process stuff that maybe I've been putting to the back and not dealing with. And I always notice that it's my mental health is better when I get out and hike, and even Brandy, my dog, I can see it in her. If she doesn't get out, she starts having some bad behaviors and
Sure.
acting weird. Yeah, like I can see the direct correlation of spending time in nature and being nude and my overall mental health and
I love that.
happiness.
Yeah. I love that it's had such a positive impact that way. I feel like we could really learn from that, but you know, everyone's on their own journey with shame and self-acceptance. So
That is so true.
yeah.
That is so true. So it sounds like you're similar to me. You use your nudity as like a mental health aspect and like overall mood booster, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say to someone that's like curious but really nervous about trying social nudity or just being nude with themselves?
Yeah. So I actually, something that I guess prescribed, so to speak. I'm not a doctor, but as a therapist, like I will sometimes give someone homework or an experiment to try. And so if body acceptance is a thing, which it is for a lot of people, and honestly a surprising number of men, straight, bi, gay, it doesn't really matter, but like a lot of men have this internalized sort of hatred of their bodies, or you know, a little bit of like body dysmorphia, like I shouldn't look this way, I should look that kind of stuff, right? Is I will challenge them to sit with themselves and just looking in the mirror, right? Even if it's just like with their shirt off, and just look and examine their bodies, but then also examine the thoughts and the feelings that they have while they're doing that, and just take note, right? But to do it for like an extended period of time, like somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, right? It will. At some point, it becomes almost intolerable or boring. But at that point, like that's when I think you can pull back and just go, okay, I've done this, right? Like I've tried it. I've got my results to report back to my therapist. Like, okay, that's fine. But it's just interesting to hear like experiences of people looking at themselves and or not being able to look at themselves, right?
Yeah.
I've had people tell me like I barely look in the mirror. And I'm like, well, what don't you like check your hair, or don't you like, you know, brush your teeth, or you look at it? Nope, I don't do any of that. And then the answer is typically it's because I can't stand the way that I look. And
That's so
to me,
sad.
that just breaks my heart, right? In those moments, I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do, and maybe we have to baby step it, right? Maybe it's not shirt off, right? But maybe it's try 10 seconds or try 30 seconds. So just to back up and kind of answer your question more directly, like I would say experiment, but baby steps, at least with yourself, at least to the point of the place that we talk about for change in therapy is our comfort edges. We stay within our comfort zone, but if you want to change and grow, you're going to have to explore outside of that zone a little bit, right? So what's just outside of that comfort zone, what's just a little bit uncomfortable, let's try that, a little bit of that, right? And let's try a little bit of that. I'm not talking about strip off and go to a nude beach if you can't stand the way you look, right? That's too big, it's too much. But to try these little baby steps, sure. And then with others, like I would find an environment like maybe like I did, right? Where it's acceptable, where there's a little microculture kind of built in. And you can go try it out, and you can exit if you need to, or you can bring a friend if you're in that place, right? And you can kind of experience it together and go, this is super awkward, I've never seen you naked, or, you know, whatever, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, just baby stepping, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great advice.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Is there any other areas that you kind of see nudity, naturism, and like therapy, just in general, overlap in a sense that, kind of like you were just talking,
Yeah.
stand and look in the mirror at yourself and.
So at its core, I think that is a mindful exercise. And so a lot of therapy, and this is not touted in our modern digital world. Let's just call out the irony of creating digital content right now. Right?
Yeah.
But truly, we don't get mindfulness promoted to us in many ways. So exercises like that, and if it's that you're privileged enough to have an outdoor space where you can be nude, right?
Absolutely.
And you can just feel and sit and experience, and it's really just, I have all 5 senses turned on right now, right? Like, what is going on? If you can do that, like, that is a great mindfulness exercise, a very in the moment. And what that does is it gives our brains a break. You used the word consumptive earlier, and I feel like that is what our culture is really about, is consumption. Right? And it's not just buying things, but it's taking in all of this information all the time. We're not adapted to that yet.
No.
100 years ago, we didn't have a tenth of the information that we have access to now. And so our brains are overwhelmed. And it's not a mystery as to why we're having a mental health crisis in this country, right? Well, we're all depressed and anxious all the time.
Yep.
So if we can give our brains that break, that is such a healthy thing to do. It just allows us to just dump some of the garbage, process, right? All the stuff we've taken in, and just be a sensual creature for a few minutes or a few hours or whatever it is.
No, exactly. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I just had a thought and it just dropped out of my brain.
That's okay.
You were talking about being consumptive. The point I was going to say is, we live in this digital age where we have Facebook and Instagram and all these things that are supposed to connect us, and we've never been more disconnected. Yeah, and lonely, even though we're surrounded by a bazillion people online.
Yeah.
And then you brought up a great point about going out in nature sometimes isn't capable for some people. They don't have that luxury or privilege to just pop out and go in nature. So sometimes that's going to look different for everyone. Like, maybe you just have a covered little patio on your apartment that you can lay down in the sun, like kind of creating your own spaces.
Yeah. Putting up a sheet, blocking neighbor's view, whatever, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What, I guess we just talked about this, small steps for self-acceptance and comfort with nudity. You're just talking about that kind of little amounts of exposure therapy, whatever your comfort level is. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you would like to bring up or talk about?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like, the sort of the silly joke that I make all the time is that everyone needs therapy, right? Everyone needs to experience some sort of self-exploration. And it doesn't have to be, when I say that, I don't mean that it needs to be with a therapist in an office setting. Like, that's not necessarily. But that self-exploration, it just isn't promoted, I think, at all in our culture. And it used to be almost mandatory. It was a thing that people went and did to figure out like who they are, right? They would study abroad for a year, or they would take a gap year, or they would. And I just don't hear enough of this. And so really understanding who we are without all of the input, like, that is so important, I think, to a long-term mental health profile. Something you said earlier, and this really kind of like staggers me when I think about it. Do you know what the number 2 killer of men over the age of 50 is?
I don't, but I could take a guess. Maybe suicide?
It's suicide.
Okay.
So you're talking about being disconnected, right? And not giving ourselves. So when we don't know ourselves, when we don't know who we are, what we feel, what we need, then we can't really genuinely connect with other humans. Like, deeply, satisfyingly. And so when we spend our lives, like, what are the messages you got about being a man in the world, right? You're going to grow up, you're going to get a job.
Yep.
You're
Get
gonna,
the 401k, get the savings, stay in the job even if you hate it. That's
right. You're going to get married, you're going to have kids, you're going to provide for them, right? Where in there was you should have friends? Where in there said you should get away 2 or 3 times a week and spend time with your buddies? Does that anybody ever tell you that?
No.
No. It's
Absolutely
essential, dude. It's essential. So women, I think it's more, I don't know, tolerated or more promoted, or women have girlfriends, women have girls' nights, like those are all things, right? But even the Saturday for the boys, like we need to go beyond that, right? We need close kinship with friends. And so when we don't do that, we get lonely, right? And we spend our lives working, and then all of a sudden we're 55 and we have no friends and our kids have left the house, and now what? Maybe even our marriage is not that great because I worked my ass off for 30 years, blah, 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 blah.
exactly.
So I digress a little bit. Really, what I'm talking about is explore yourself, whatever that means. Get in touch with what you feel, what you want, what you need. Put it out there in the world, and then see who flocks, see who comes to you, see what experiences open up. That would be the recommendation, I guess, for anyone who feels like something is missing, or feels a little lost, or feels a little disconnected or lonely, or figure it out before you're old and lonely and it feels like it's too late, right?
Absolutely. A quote that just came to mind when you just said that was, what's meant for you will not pass you by. Like, in putting that energy out there, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm going for. And the laws of manifestation, all that energy coming back to you. This is a hard time to be comparing and looking at other people's images and videos, and it does leave you with a sense of being depressed and down, and like you were just talking about. So that's great information for people. I really appreciate you saying that. And I really want to say thank you for coming on and recording with me. This was awesome. I'd love to do it again sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. I appreciate the chance. I'm glad we did this.
Absolutely. And if you're ever in Arizona, we need to link up and go for a hike.
That'd be amazing.
Much again for showing up for this conversation. It was really awesome to sit down with you and get to know you better. Conversations like this remind me why these stories matter and why we have to share them, because they help us all feel a little more connected and a little more human. And it just shows that human nudity, non-sexual nudity, is just that. It's non-sexual, it's not threatening, and you can show up in a way that's so cool and so connecting. Until next time, get naked, be free, and be kind. See ya.